If this wasn't filmed, you wouldn't believe it. I have this video from Charlie where she was confronted by this group of students, and the way it unfolds will surprise you. Let's jump in the video and watch.
I gotta say, I'm pretty confused. I kind of want to tell you about my situation because I've been a little confused lately about kind of like myself. I came here and I've been considering things a lot more, and I kind of present a little more feminine, but I actually was born a man, and
Okay.
I wanted to know, like I personally, like pronouns, I've been trying to think about it, but I wanted to know what your thoughts are on like me, like what do you think, what path do you think I should go down? Like what is your advice?
Sure. Okay, so you were born a man, so XY chromosomes. And did you go through surgery, or did you
Not
take
yet.
puberty blockers?
Yes, I did.
What age did you take puberty blockers?
I started, I think, when I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think they help you?
It's hard to tell because obviously I've never lived a life where I went through puberty like as a man, so it's hard for me to compare.
And I'm just curious, honestly. Do you kind of regret that?
I don't know if it's gotten to that point yet.
No, that's fine.
Again, it's hard for me to compare.
Yeah, it's a toughie, right? Because you can't like.
Ladies and gentlemen, this person is a victim, someone who has experienced harm, suffering, injustice, maybe as a result of a circumstance maybe beyond their control. Clearly, you can tell from the way that he's speaking. You know, maybe they faced emotional, psychological trauma or physical trauma, you know, often leaving them vulnerable and in a state of distress. Maybe that's what happened. Yeah. How sad.
Right?
If I stop taking them completely, it will be reversed.
Okay.
And I will eventually go through male puberty and become a man, which I am considering.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life, right? But I believe that you should pray. I don't know if you believe in God or not, but I do. Right? Okay, so hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that living with your natural design would give you more peace than I think you might realize.
Okay, thank you. Can you send my arm, please? As like a little memento.
All right.
Wait, where's the pen? Thank you. Here.
All right. All right. I don't know if that helps or not.
No,
so.
it does. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the parents, the school, and the doctor, they all need to go to prison for what they have done to this young man. They all need to go to prison because they robbed him literally of everything. Yeah, because, I mean, just by looking at him, I see an honest young man who is starting to accept that the decisions that others may have made on his behalf when he was maybe 11 potentially destroyed his life. Yeah. And I like his attitude. But hey, as a Christian and a conservative, I feel deep sympathy for him. Because, and this also goes beyond just him as one person, but for all the other people who also share the same views that he shared. Because they have been pushed to accept these certain ideologies, lifestyles. And some of them, it has been done by their own parents. Can you imagine that? And that's so cruel. That is so cruel. Who does that to their kids? It's truly heartbreaking to see how these young individuals may be influenced by external pressures and societal trends rather than being allowed to develop their own values and beliefs. But hey, let's watch further. I have another one.
What do you mean by men are women, and why is it such a...
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. The second part of your question, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Why is it the topic that
Oh,
you
yeah,
care
well,
about?
it sparks conversation for sure. I think it's also just rather fundamental to be able to, organize a society if we can't agree what men and women are, right? So But yeah, I believe gender and sex are the same thing, and biological reality shouldn't be ignored.
So why? I mean, that's not quite my question. Like, because I understand that.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Argument. But what compels you to sit on a college campus and talk about it? Like, why is it a topic you're passionate about?
Well, it amazingly meets disagreement, and I'm curious as to how on earth someone could disagree with this. So I think that's worth kind of exploring and kind of talking about. And I also think it's kind of insane to believe that men can become women and women can become men.
I see. Like, I understand that that's your stance, and
Yes.
I agree with it. And I don't think that there's. I don't think.
So
that
you're asking like what drives me to come here and talk about it?
Because I don't think I'm going to change your mind, and I don't think you're going to change mine. So
Yeah, no, and like, but part of it is like, if we're not, maybe you'll make a point I won't think of, probably not, but maybe you will, right? Because I do this a lot. Maybe I'll make a point you'll think of. But also, like, I'm a big believer that public and open and sometimes provocative speech is fundamental to a free society, right? It pushes boundaries. It gets people out of their comfort zone. It makes you live in a less totalitarian moment, at least in that instant, right? So I just think it's really healthy. I think it makes you more human, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you're like, oh, like, that's really stupid. You just keep walking. Like, fine, whatever, I don't care.
Well, I guess, okay, so because I feel like there's not a lot that I could say that you haven't heard in one of these.
Yeah, I mean,
which is why
sure.
my main thinking on the topic is that for a lot of people, for trans people, I don't know if you're, for a lot of trans people, like, it's a matter of life and death to express themselves the way they want to and embrace the identity they want to, and to use the pronouns that they care about. And what is it to you to not respect it?
Yeah,
Like,
so
why do you?
there's two separate issues. We could go on endlessly, and it probably wouldn't get anywhere where I would be like my own personal opinions on that.
Right.
But the more important question is, how does society react to it, right? That's the more important question. So I'm not going to convince trans people they're not what they say they are. Like, that's a waste of time. The question is, should we change bathrooms, like college sports? You know, that's the more important question, right? Should we teach this stuff in schools? And I would say, I mean, the moral question from my perspective is that I believe people, first and foremost, born as biological men, right, should not be allowed to exploit or damage or harm people that do not have the same testosterone, bone density, or muscle mass. Let's just take, like, athletics, right? So NCAA women's swimmer champion Thomas was a man, transitioned to a woman, wins the NCAA championship, right? So that's a moral question where I say, okay, you can think whatever you want, but you should have to compete your own your chromosome should dictate what athletic competition you're in, right? So you say it's a matter of life and death. I think doing therapy, whatever, but your therapy shouldn't be disenfranchising other female athletes.
Well, in many cases, these parents, in an attempt to appear progressive or socially aware, they might intentionally or unintentionally push their children into situations or decisions that they are not emotionally or mentally prepared for. Yeah, it happens, and it is happening, ladies and gentlemen. It is, because this kind of influence can create problems, and it has created problems for a lot of kids. Yeah, internal conflicts, all those things. Because, ladies and gentlemen, be rest assured that no kid will just wake up one day and say, Mommy, if they're a boy, say, Mommy, I'm a girl. Or Mommy, Daddy, I'm a boy, if they're a girl. Nobody does that. You see? Point is, they would have been influenced by something external. Always there are external influences. Yeah, it's a tragic situation because a lot of these kids they may be trapped, between their parents' expectations and their own identities and beliefs. Yeah, it's a tragic situation. Because not every person that you see who is from the alphabet community is happy with those decisions. I mean, clearly from the first guy, he said he is actually thinking about, being who he was born as. You see? So it has to detransition. Yeah. So we ought to pray for them. We ought to pray for them. Well, I have another one. Let's jump in and watch.
Are there more than two genders?
Yeah.
Great. Gender is fluid?
Yeah.
You mentioned a second ago that you have trans friends. Yep. Do you, in terms of the gender argument, do you notice that there are more than two genders?
I mean, I'd agree that gender's probably not binary.
You can be male or female or non-binary, somewhere in between. I think that's your expression is up to you.
Lots of different genders.
Yeah, I would say so. Or, you know, whatever. I don't think it even really has to be defined either, just what you want to be.
If 150 people who were transitioned and were trans from male to female were in prison last year, and 50% of them were ex-sexual predators, what would your opinion be about integration with regards to trans, I'm trying to get my vocab right here, trans males, i.e. new females? What would you feel about them being in women's areas? And you can link that to bathrooms as well, toilets. That's the other talking point. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not in prison, so it's different. Like, if it was in a bathroom here at uni, I'd be like, whatever, it's fine, I don't care. But it's because it's got that label of, oh, they're a sexual predator, and that, yeah, it probably isn't great, but I feel like, personally, I don't have the right to say this because I am a cis female. I haven't had to deal with any of those troubles. What does
cis mean? I should know that.
You were born a female, and like that's the gender you were assigned at birth, and you've stayed with that gender. I think. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
Right. So XX versus XY, as in you are what you are.
Yeah. So I was born a female. I'm a female now. Yeah. So I'm
identify as a female.
Yeah, I'm a cis female, whereas I'm not like a trans female.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's what it is.
The prison one's a complicated one, isn't it? Do you think there should be trans prisons?
Well, doing psychology, we learn about prisons, and there's not enough space, to be fair, to have a trans prison. But yeah, like I was saying, like I don't feel like I have the right to say, no, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be doing this, because I've not had to live with the feeling inside my head like, oh my God, I am not a girl. I don't feel like a girl at all, but I have to wear skirts, I have to do that kind of thing.
You know, this lady knows the truth, but she's afraid to say it. Clearly, she knows it's wrong to put men into female prisons and even bathrooms. She knows it's wrong. But guess what? Political correctness. If you say anything they don't like, they will label you and they will discriminate against you. So guess what? Be nice. Don't make anyone mad. Yes, be nice and sit or stay in your place. How sad. That's terrible. My heart truly goes out for them, these students. It goes out for them. Like, I pray for these students, ladies and gentlemen, so that they may find clarity in their life, strength, the support they need to navigate through these challenges. Yeah, seriously, because it's important for them to be able to reflect and find a sense of peace, free from the external pressure or societal demands. They ought to be free. You ought to be free. I mean, what kind of life would that be if you're not free? What kind of life? And the sad thing is, these are college students, tomorrow's future leaders, tomorrow's future parents. What are they going to teach their kids with that kind of system or kind of belief system, a mentality? It's sad. Well, let's watch further.
And for prisons, the way I think of it is that if a trans woman, if a trans woman was in a male prison, they'd get like beaten up and just destroyed way more than if a trans woman was in a female prison. They're way more in danger in a male prison than they are in a female prison, and there's no, I mean, at least from the data that I've seen, there's no link tying that trans women are any way more dangerous than other women.
So when you say trans women, do you mean people?
Trans women is someone who is assigned male at birth and then transitions to become a woman.
So in terms of solutions, and in terms of the idea that as long as live and let live, and as long as we're helping people and they're safer and the progressive model of living how you want to live, there's no negative consequences. In terms of, if I was to say that last year year there was 120 trans. I'm trying to get my vocab right here. Trans women.
Yeah.
So men, biological,
who
transitioned to become a woman. 50% of them were sex offenders. What would you say to that?
I probably wouldn't believe you. But maybe that's also the way I think. That's probably also, I don't know, the way I've been educated and stuff. Sure. I'd like to see that data. I'd like to see that study. I don't know if I can believe you, but
sure.
That's a shocking number if it is true.
But even hypothetically, regardless of whether it's true or not, I'm not going to ruin it by saying whether it is or not, because independent thought. But hypothetically, would that change your, because you've been compelling, would that change your line of argument on anything that you've mentioned? If that data were true.
If that data were completely true, I think that would change. I'd have to rethink some of my ideas.
Biological predators who are now women in women's safe spaces, women areas.
I mean, yeah, that probably would change my idea slightly.
If I decide to transition into a female,
Yeah.
if I'm a biological man, if you'll allow me that, and I transition into a female, what's your opinion? If you sound quite pro the idea that this should happen and we should be accepting of it, which prison do I go into? If I commit a crime and I'm sentenced, sorry.
What do you mean? So say...
So if I'm a biological male and I transition into a female...
And you commit a crime...
I commit a crime and I'm a female, fully fledged. What prison do I go into, male or female?
Well, I would say, obviously, you have the argument... This is similar to the bathroom argument as well.
Use them both as the same, if you will.
Yeah, if someone, if a man transitions to a woman, I would personally say that you should be able to use the woman's bathroom, because that is who you are identifying as. And I think that when you use these arguments, it's almost a bit of a kind of a bit of a straw man in a way, because you're assuming that that person is inherently bad and wants to do something bad. And obviously I think that paints quite a negative image of
with the bathroom analogy, yeah.
Yeah, and with the prison one as well, because if you're saying, I wouldn't want someone with male sex organs, if you will, in the same place as people with female sex organs, you're presuming, like, something like that they're going to do something bad. I don't think that's a very good argument, in my opinion. I think that people...
Ladies and gentlemen, how did we get to this point where our colleges, universities, they have been so hijacked by ideological agendas? Because instead of fostering critical thinking, many institutions now seem to be more interested in enforcing this one-sided narrative, basically being politically correct, flowing with the trends. What happened to genuine academics? Because you wouldn't expect such ideas from college students. No, this is crisis. If this is the reflection of the current state of the colleges and universities, this is a crisis, and there is need for an urgent attention. Oh yeah. Oh, literally. Yeah, I can't help but feel sorry for these kids. Maybe they don't even realize the situation that they are in, or maybe they do, but they're trying to hide it. I don't know. Maybe they know what they're saying is wrong, but they're trying to conform with the norm or the flow. I don't know. But this is so wrong. It's sad. It's terrible. Well, let's watch further.
We should just, if you identify as a woman, you should be able to use the women's bathroom, and yeah, I would say
that's hugely useful. So if I was to say, and I'm not going to say whether it's true or not, because lots of different data sources, and we are in media saturated information overload territory in the 21st century. What if I was to tell you that last year 130 people who were fully transitioned, we were talking men to women, in prisons, 50% of them were sex offenders? What would you, even if it was hypothetical, I'm not saying that's true, it might be, but even if it was hypothetical, would you change your mind on anything you've said?
Well, if it's hypothetical and we don't know if it's true, then...
Let's suspend disbelief and say it's true.
But then, I don't know. I mean, you could say that with anyone. I mean, you have males that are sex offenders in prison with other men, Like, I don't see how, in my opinion, that's different.
What do you think about in the situation with Leah Thomas in transitioning to become female and becoming number one in the it's a really big swim meet in the US for that particular event and winning first? What are your thoughts to feminists and females over the last 100 years, and your own thoughts about whether that's right or wrong, or even just your opinion on it?
I feel like they have to be fully transitioned. It can't be like a half thing, which I know is controversial, but this thing with the swimming, I'm fine with trans. Live your life, do what you want to do. It's not affecting me, that's fine. But with the stuff with the swimming, it's like,
This is Leah Thomas, yeah?
yeah, it's, you know, there's other female swimmers, because females are just not built different from men. We just are. We're not as like strong, we're skinnier, and because she's only just started her like estrogen, so she's still got a men's body. So
okay, so you're saying there's lines within the transitioning process, and until the law should reflect that which is medically relevant to whether you are that or the other.
Kind of, yeah, because like if I was trained, you know, because they get up at like 5 a.m. to train, and I was working really hard to swim in competitions, and then I got in a competition and I was against somebody and they were beating me to the point where they were on their second lap and I'm only just getting to my first lap, then I'd be like pissed off. And
you shouldn't even have to defend the fact that biologically men are stronger.
Yeah,
men are stronger physically.
They are stronger. If I was to have a fight with somebody that was the same height as me, same weight as me, they would win because they are just stronger.
In my opinion, I don't want to speak on a topic that I don't know that much about. I'm not trans myself, but I do think that there are different biological advantages that exist within the same sexes as well. So for example, Michael Phelps, he produces lactic acid at half the rate of his competitors. That gives him a biological advantage, even though he's the same, you know, sex as his competitors. And I think Leah Thomas, there have been trans athletes in the past who have transitioned from male to female, and it's all about your testosterone levels. If your testosterone levels are below the regulated amount, which I think I've heard hers were, then it's, in my opinion, I think it's fair. I think trans athletes should be able to compete, and I think that what was I going to say? Yeah, there have been female athletes that have transitioned from male to female in the past, and they've not won. And in my opinion, it seems like a lot of the drama that's coming from this situation is because of the fact that she's won. And I would say if
some of the other stuff goes under radar, but this is highlighted because she's won.
Yeah, and maybe because if she had come third or second, then no one would be saying anything, in my opinion. But obviously it does raise questions, but you know, I don't want to speak on, you know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, God values people more than anything, because He created all of us in His image and in His likeness, and He designed us. The purpose of our creation is for us to have a relationship with Him. You see, unlike the rest of the creation, which reflects wonderfully His power and creativity, human beings are unique. They are unique because they bear His likeness, the likeness of God, possessing the ability to think, to love, and to choose freely. Yeah. So I'm saying this to say that everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a purpose for living, purpose for life, and God never makes mistakes. Don't be deceived. God never makes mistakes. Yes, God's love for people endures forever. Yes, He longs for each person to know Him. Literally, because to know God is to live life. If you want to know who you truly are, you gotta know God. Because God is the source of your being, is the source of your existence, your very existence. Literally. Yeah. Literally. So never be deceived that you're in a wrong body. No, that is not true. God never makes mistakes. He never does. My deepest hope is that these students may embark on a journey of discovery, uncovering the truth for themselves, because the truth is the power to transform lives. You see, the Bible says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, shall make you free. Yeah, the truth makes you free. It does. And I long to see them free, break free from any falsehoods, distractions that may be holding them back to embrace reality. Common sense. Yeah, so that that reality may bring for them true meaning of life, purpose, and fulfillment. Yeah, so that they understand and accept the truth. Yeah. And believe me, that will be the beginning of a radical change for their lives. Yeah, so I hope that someday they will discover the truth and live a life of meaning, a peaceable life. Yeah, literally. A peaceable life, because the future belongs to those who prepare for the future. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So never stop praying for your loved ones. Pray for your family. Pray for your communities. Pray for your countries. Wherever you're from, never stop praying. Because, hey, everybody needs a prayer. Everybody needs a prayer. Remember that first guy. Pray for him. Let's pray for them, so that they will discover who they truly are in Christ. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to watch the next one, and don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. I'll see you again next time. It's bye-bye for now.